Direct News TV. December 5, 2023. Israel-Hamas war live battles rage as Israel widens South Gaza onslaught. Battles rage as the Israeli army pushes air and ground offensive into southern Gaza, an area it once declared safe for Palestinians. Israeli general says the army is in the most intense day of fighting, with troops engaged in ground combat inside Khan Yunis. Israeli army announces deaths of 2 soldiers. The military said that Major Eli Eliyahu Cohen and Sergeant Major Matan Damari died during ground operations in Gaza today. This raises the death toll of Israeli soldiers to 82 since the beginning of the ground operation in Gaza, and 408 since October 7. USAID chief arrives at humanitarian assistance hub in El Arish. The USAID administrator Samantha Power accompanied an aid delivery of 36,000 pounds of food assistance and medical supplies airlifted from Jordan to Egypt. More must be done to protect civilians and accelerate the pace of life-saving assistance reaching the people of Gaza, Power said in a post on X. Hezbollah says it struck Israeli forces in northern Israel. The Lebanon-based group said its attack on Khalat Warda caused casualties. Israel's military did not immediately respond to the claim. Israel had earlier in the day said it attacked several Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. Meanwhile, Lebanon's military said a soldier was killed in Israeli strikes, although it was not immediately clear if that was during the attacks announced by Israel. Al-Qassam brigades hits invading Israeli forces in South Gaza. The armed wing of Hamas says it engaged the Israeli army in all areas of the Strip since this morning. A statement on the group's Telegram channel claims it totally or partially destroyed 24 army vehicles in Khan Yunis. An Israeli unit was targeted in an attack and Al-Qassam snipers killed and wounded 8 soldiers. It said fighters booby-trapped a building with explosives in the Khan Yunis area where Israeli troops took position, causing its complete collapse. Red Crescent mourns loss of child saver paramedic. The Red Crescent says an Israeli attack on Jabalia refugee camp killed one of its volunteers, Osama Tay, who was well known for saving many children wounded in Israeli attacks. Jordan slams new Israeli settlement in occupied East Jerusalem. Jordan's foreign ministry says the latest settlement expansion, which is rejected and condemned, represents a flagrant, grave violation of international law and international legitimacy resolutions. The unilateral steps taken by Israel are tantamount to war crimes, jeopardizing efforts to reach a peaceful resolution to the conflict and achieving a just, comprehensive peace, it said in a statement. According to IR Amin, an organization focusing on the Israel-Palestine conflict in Jerusalem, Israeli authorities have approved the first major new settlement in occupied East Jerusalem since the building of Givat Hamados in 2012. This plan has disastrous ramifications, the group said. It will extend the Israeli settlement wedge along East Jerusalem's southern boundary, further sealing it off from the southern West Bank while fracturing the Palestinian space and depleting more vacant land for Palestinian development. Israeli Army Chief says forces encircling Khan Yunis. Israeli Army Chief of General Staff Herzi Halevi says forces are surrounding the city of Khan Yunis. 60 days after the war began, our forces are now encircling the Khan Yunis area in the southern Gaza Strip, he said. We have secured many Hamas strongholds in the northern Gaza Strip, and now we are operating against its strongholds in the south. Iraq calls on the international community to stop Israel. Iraq's President Abdul Latif Rashid says global efforts should be made to stop Israel's aggression on Gaza. The comments were made during a meeting with the Palestinian ambassador to Iraq in the capital, Baghdad, a statement said. The Iraqi president also said there needs to be a long-term solution to the conflict in Palestine, and Iraq will provide support and humanitarian aid to Palestinians in the besieged coastal enclave. Displaced Palestinians in Rafah expected to rise to 1 million. Adnan Abu Hasna, a representative from the Agency for Palestine Refugees, has given more details on the unfolding humanitarian disaster in Rafah. Hundreds of thousands more internally displaced people are expected to arrive in Gaza's southernmost city as Israel's military calls on residents to evacuate further south from Khan Yunis, where fighting is intensifying. Now, Israeli forces are pushing people not only to the south but pushing people to the south of the south, he said. We expect that we will have more than 1 million people in the coming days, displaced to Rafah, Abu Hasna told Al Jazeera. We have tens of thousands of families in the streets. They are already sheltering under random things, pieces of nylon and wood. It's raining now. We will see the disaster, he said, adding about 50 to 70 aid trucks entering Gaza daily via the Rafah border did not come close to meeting the needs of those displaced. Gaza's entrepreneurs among the many killed in the war. The Entrepreneurs of Gaza, a close-knit group who worked hand in hand to improve new graduates' prospects, are reeling from the relentless killing of their colleagues by Israel. Mohammed Sharif Youssef, an entrepreneurship consultant at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, has lost many friends and peers, some killed after they were displaced to the areas in the south the Israeli army claimed were safe. The people in Youssef's network had been the ones who found technological solutions to Gaza's problems and, as their institutions grew, created jobs for young people with few work prospects because of the 17-year siege imposed by Israel on the coastal enclave. But on October 30, Youssef heard his good friend Tariq Debet, who directed the business incubator at the University College of Applied Sciences in Gaza, had been killed. In case you're just joining us, it's 6 p.m., 1600 hours Greenwich Mean Time, in the occupied Palestinian territories and Israel. Let's bring you up to speed with the most significant developments in the past few hours. The Israeli army says troops are engaged in ground combat inside Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. UNRWA's Gaza chief, Thomas White, says the Israeli army is telling people to leave eastern Khan Yunis, calling it a dangerous fighting zone. Lebanon's army says a soldier has been killed by Israeli fire near the country's southern border. An Amnesty International investigation finds that U.S.-made Joint Direct Attack munitions, JDAM, were used in 2 separate air attacks on civilian homes in Wadi Gaza. The Emir of Qatar calls Israel's war on Gaza an unprecedented catastrophe at a summit of Gulf leaders in Doha. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.